It was summertime. The red, white, and blue bus went through the wrought iron gate, and I spoke into the microphone. Good morning, my name is Dan, our driver's name is Mike, and this is Tourmobile. Welcome to Arlington National Cemetery. I was hungover from drinking box wine the night before with my younger brother Tom, because that's what summer nights were about, box wine and cigarettes on the back porch. You know, I was home from college for the summer, and Tom was still in high school, which means we were both underage, but box wine was easy to get if you wore a suit to the beer wine deli. Yeah. That was fun, wasn't it? And then you could hide it under a chair and drink it out of red plastic cups. But summer mornings at the cemetery were rough. Looking to your right and left are headstones of uniform shape and size meant to represent service members standing at attention in formation for eternity. Reroute at the gravesite, reroute at the gravesite. Driver Mike put on the brake, looked at me. Dan, we got a reroute at the gravesite. We're heading into the old sections. Oh shit, motherfucker, I hated reroutes. That meant we were going to skip the JFK gravesite and head into the older sections of the cemetery, uncharted cemetery territory, sections I did not know, in order to avoid bumping into a funeral. I had one routine, one plan, timed perfectly, so I stuck with it. Although we are not currently looking at the Kennedy gravesite, if we were, you would see the gravesite of our former president and his brother, Senator Robert Kennedy, both of whom were assassinated and currently rest together in the light of an eternal flame which burns there, not currently visible. You know, I hate reroutes. I hate reroutes. I told my brother Tom that night over our box wine, I never know where I am. I never know what to say. Dan, said Tom, smoking a Marlboro Red. Why are you being such a pussy? When's the last time you got laid? Tom, I don't want to talk about that. Why? Because you like to fuck guys and you're ashamed of it? No, Tom, look, okay, I wasn't really prepared for being, you know, this gay stuff. My plan was I was going to get married, I was going to have kids. That was my plan. I don't know what else to do. I told Mom and Dad about this. They didn't like it one bit. Fuck Mom and Dad. They don't know shit. Well, look, Tom, I just need a little time to figure all this stuff out. Dan, do you ever see me trying to figure out if I like to fuck girls? If you like to fuck girls, guys, pardon me, if you like to fuck guys, you should fuck as many guys as you want whenever you want to fuck them, so go out and fuck. Jesus Christ, Tom, Dan, what are you afraid of? AIDS? Yes, I'm afraid of AIDS. Okay. You know, there was no protease inhibitor cocktail then. I just imagined an awful, long, death, and yes, I was terrified. Dan, have you ever considered this? That if you got AIDS, maybe you'd learn something from it? It might just be a beautiful experience. No, Tom, I hadn't thought of that. So, Tom went off to join the Marines, and I went to work in the nonprofit sector. And when we went to war in Iraq, the Marines sent Tom there, and while he was there, the news came over the wire, or the internet, as the case may be, that a helicopter full of Marines had gone down in the Anbar province. So I emailed him immediately, Tom, please confirm that you did not reach your demise. His response was nearly instantaneous. I can neither confirm nor deny that query. Talk to you later, Danny boy. So, as it happened, I didn't die of AIDS, and Tom did not die in Iraq, but he is buried in Arlington Cemetery. I found his body several years after he returned from Iraq. He had gotten sick while deployed, and in the years following, he got sicker. His body turned on him slowly. His organs began to fail, but through all this pain and swelling that he experienced, he got married, he had a child, he held a job, and you know, when I found his body, he was sitting on an easy chair and his skin had gone white, but I could see on his face just the hint of a smile, like he'd learned something from the head-on force with which he'd confronted his life, right? And that it had been beautiful. So, when we drove into the cemetery, for Tom's funeral through that wrought iron gate, I said to my mom, you know, it looks, you know, it was like he was dying of AIDS, except he didn't have AIDS. You know, I always thought I was going to die of AIDS. My mom turned around. Dan, she snapped. You need to stop worrying about being gay. Live. Live. And my father didn't voice any objection, and as we drove through the cemetery, I kind of felt a unity of purpose begin to form and a sense of healing to grow. We need to start an organization, my mother said. We need to start an organization to help other veterans like Tom who are sick. Now, I couldn't see the future then. I couldn't see or know that we really would, over the course of the next 3 years, start an organization, that organization, through it, we'd connect to many other families with sick veterans in them, or veterans that they've lost who are dying of mysterious illnesses, and that we'd join together with them, my mother, my father, and me, my sister, and that together with these other families, we would begin a struggle for recognition, which in my mind is much like the struggle for recognition that gay men had to fight in the 1980s, in the wake of the devastation of AIDS. I didn't see this for myself, didn't picture it. It was a reroute I didn't anticipate. But luckily, I'd learned from my brother not to be a wimp about reroutes, because I see now that he was right? Because I see now that there's only one thing to fear when you're trying to blaze a trail through the vast uncertainties of life. The only thing to fear is the worst thing that can happen, and the worst thing that can happen is you might learn something, and it might just be beautiful. But, you know, I couldn't see that back in the day of Tom's funeral. I was there in the Arlington Cemetery, surrounded by a sea of headstones of uniform shape of size, of which my brother soon would be one. I was lost. I was confused in that unfamiliar territory. And then, from the corner of my eye, I saw a red, white, and blue bus approaching the procession. Then it slowed down. And then it stopped. And I thought, there's going to be a reroute. And there was.